Guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm sitting here today with Keaton Lyons and Samuel James. Welcome, guys.
What's going on, guys?
First time guest, Keaton Lyons. Let's go. And
first time
returning guest, Samuel James.
Hello.
Sorry.
No, long time friend, dude. Known you for a hot minute.
I know, dude. I enjoy these Eau Claire podcasts because I get to talk to people that I've known for like 20 years now.
Yeah, dude. Every time I think about you, there's one thing that comes to mind every time, and that's Mammoth Lakes, California.
I know, dude. I know, dude. We were just babies.
I know. It was such a great time, dude. I had so much fun out there. It was probably the best thing I could have done after high school.
Yeah, you want to tell the people what we're talking about?
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. So we graduated in 2005 from Memorial High School. And before Max went off to film school, we decided to move out to Mammoth Lakes, California. You got out there a little bit earlier than all of us.
Yeah,
you
went
with
Jordan.
Yeah. And then I went out there with Tyler Brown, his cousin, and had a couple other random roommates that we were all mixed together. And we had an absolute blast. And eventually you moved in with us, didn't you?
Yeah. And then I think eventually I got kicked out too.
Yeah, I also got kicked out. I'm pretty sure everything went downhill. Do you remember that it was a New Year's party we went to it was a pro snowboarders, and Mason Aguirre was there with Molly Aguirre. And whose house was that? But we got wrecked. Nobody showed up for work the next day.
Yeah.
And we got yelled at, and that was my exit. That was essentially the last of it.
That's so funny. I mean, I did learn a lot moving out there. It was fun to get out of Eau Claire just kind of immediately and know that that was an option. I think that completely changed my entire life doing that.
Yeah.
And it was so random too. Like I was obsessed with snowboarding, and then I met this kid Casey in Eau Claire who like went and did a season out there, and he's like, "Oh, it's easy. Just apply. You can get a job." And I was like, "Well, fuck it. I'm not gonna sit around here and do nothing."
Right.
But I was also in my head, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go be a pro snowboarder."
Right.
And then you get out there and you see those jumps and you go, "Oh, hell no,
no, not touching it." I remember that half pipe the first time I dropped in on it. I was like, "Yep, that's it. That was the last time." But that was so little compared to what else we had out there. We had the backside. Do you remember the backside? Mm-hmm. We were dropping cliffs. We'd go up and we'd hike up on spines and we'd drop in. That was my favorite.
Just the snow, all of it. Remember, we got 93 inches in 24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, we were doing backflips off of we were on the second story. We were doing backflips off the.
I jumped off the second story and I literally got buried alive.
Yeah.
They had to dig me. They had to dig me out.
I've seen that one time in my life in Northern California too. It was on Redding. It was a record year. My family moved there. We got 11 feet of snow in 2 days.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a record year. We had to shovel off our roof so it didn't cave in.
Yeah.
I love that amount of snow, but it's so hard to ride that deep
You would
shit.
open your door and you had a wall of snow in front of you. You had to like claw out of your own door.
It's exhausting.
It was
very
wild.
exhausting to live in that.
I remember the skate park there too, that JLA skate park.
Yeah. Dude, do you remember when we used to longboard too?
Yeah.
Literally these wild mountain roads, and you longboard, which felt like for hours. You were on a longboard for a half an hour straight, just cruising down. Nobody had a vehicle out there. So
we were 18 years old.
I know. 19.
Maybe.
Because we were 18 in high school.
I guess you're right. Like 19 years old.
Yeah. Still
Kids.
babies though.
Still babies. Still, we managed to get drunk like every night.
Oh my God, we partied hard.
I don't remember who was. I think one of the first times I ever did mushrooms was out there with you guys.
Yeah, 100%. We did. And
The mushrooms had a human experience out there.
oh man, I remember Tyler Brown. We lost him that night. We had all taken some mushrooms, and you kind of buddy up. You know, sometimes in a group trip, you find your little trip buddy. Mm-hmm. Well, we lost Tyler Brown for hours. He literally, I think he saw cop lights outside of our apartment because some weird stuff was happening, and he took off running. And he was gone for hours.
He was hiding in the woods, tripping balls, thinking the cops were after him.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Oh my gosh, dude. It was so wild.
Yeah, those days were so fun. And then, life kind of moved on after that season. I think we all realized we needed to like do something else with our lives than be ski bums.
Yeah. And I went in debt right away out there.
I remember driving back with Sean Stillman, R.I.P.
Oh, God. R.I.P., man. That was a good kid right there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I drove back with Jordan, the guy you went out there with, fixed his transmission for him, went in debt, and never heard from him again when we got home.
But yeah, I've never seen him
Never
again.
heard. I think he joined the Navy or something
Did
like
he?
that, and then
I bet it didn't go well.
well, he still owes me money, Jordan, wherever you're at. People don't forget.
That's an invitation.
Yep.
That's so funny.
I always hope the best for people like that disappear. They're going to show up in your life just uber successful and like thriving, and then just be so full of gratitude because they've grown and they learned.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I hope. That's the small hope.
And
Will it happen?
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't even need the money back. Just the acknowledgement that, hey, you screwed me over. Okay, we can move forward from that.
Or hey, I know we were kids. Thanks for helping me out.
Yeah.
I understand. I didn't do the right thing, but like.
That's a good point.
You
I
know
like
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
Your
yeah.
generosity.
I have plenty of those.
Never wasted. Because that grows something in you. Like your generosity is never wasted.
No. And I think that's where people suffer, is because they feel like if you give, you need to have something in return. And that places an expectation. And once that happens, expectations I like to call, they're essentially shackles, or they're your own prison. Because once you put an expectation out there, and if you fail to meet that expectation, you suffer.
Yeah.
And it's your own doing.
Yeah, we only know conditional. Like that's just this life.
Yep.
So it's like if I do this, you do that. Everything is conditional. So it comes from somewhere else outside of us. If we want to experience the unconditional.
Sure.
I can't just like manifest that in me usually.
Yeah.
It's like a practice that I have to draw from somewhere outside of me.
To love without conditions. It's a powerful thing.
Kids help me with that.
Some days I
Dogs,
can.
my dog, especially
Really?
my golden retriever.
I was gonna say my cat. That's like my cat is like that. It just
Loves you
Yeah.
no matter what. All it does is require some food and some
Yeah.
time, and
Food.
will love you till their last dying breath.
conditions.
Yeah. All right.
I meant
We found a hole. We found
I'm
a
just
hole.
kidding.
I kind of meant that like I open my heart up in a way that like is unconditional to my cat, if you will. Like I feel like I struggle to do that with humans
Sure.
than I
Yep.
do with like my cat.
Yeah.
That's not
If that
that's not
makes sense.
uncommon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think you hit it on the head there pretty good.
Yeah, because like he doesn't talk back to me. It's like you don't give me your opinion, which is probably the great.
You might throw up on your couch. Right?
Oh,
He definitely
Mine
will.
just said, imagine if animals could talk, what they would have to say.
We just talked about this. I'm like, AI is going to unlock some sort of technology and then you'll know what they're saying, and it's
Yeah.
going to remove all the mystery.
My cat's just
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part about life, is the unknown. And I think making the unknown known also creates suffering in itself. As you take away the mystery, and we take away the sacredness of life in that regard. What do we have to figure out? And if we figure it out, does it mean anything anyway? Or does it only mean what we attach meaning to? So no matter what, the meaning that you get is the meaning you attach. Let's do it without the expectation, or you know what I mean?
sure.
Yeah, we have our own filters.
Yeah.
So we're limited by our experience and our understanding.
Yeah.
So if we don't have context for what it actually is, we're going to miss it. We're going to frame it in a way that we can palate. Like, all right, this is what it means to me.
Yeah.
And we all have different experiences in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sure.
There's that's absolutely beautiful, and that's a philosophical concept that I've been trying to live more and to apply more in my life. Is it's okay if we don't know, and it's okay if we don't have an answer. We feel like we always have to have an answer for everything, and if we can't find an answer, then we give it the best one we got, but we're never satisfied with it, because human nature, we always want more. And I would even say human nature more over in the West. The way the West is we've created a monster in human behavior of always wanting more, the next best thing. I need this to be happy. It's materialism 101 is what it is. And I believe that creates undue suffering for many, many people without many people realizing it as well.
100%. Well, you guys are already talking so deep. I love it. But just to keep us slightly on track, I want to learn a little bit more about Keaton and how he got to this enlightenment stage of his life.
Oof.
So I call Keaton the mushroom man because he's my go-to for anything and all things mushrooms. The man is a master at it. So I just wanted to talk maybe about that journey, like how you found the mushroom, how that's impacted your life.
That's beautiful that you brought that up, man. That's because that is something that is a big part of my life. So for those who don't know much about me, I deployed to Iraq in 2009, came home in 2010. struggled with substances and moreover with opiates. Pain pills is what I started on, and then it went to heroin. And I had my first heroin.
Did you get hurt, or was that like a recreational thing?
I hurt my back over there. We had gotten hit with some indirect fire one night, and before we could get all of our guys out, I jumped into a bunker head first and like just destroyed my back. And so that's where it started. Oh, okay. And then on top of that, then you have the psychological wounds, PTSD, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then, so then it became an escape, and it became a way out of feeling my emotions or dealing with what I went through. And so from 2011 to 2015, I went through 3 different heroin overdoses. I was clinically dead the first one. Second one was a suicide attempt. Wasn't able to, by the grace of God, my buddy found me. And then the third one was just me being an idiot, which all of them are me being an idiot. And then finally the VA decided to help me in 2015, and they put me on a bunch of medication and, methadone, Suboxone, stuff like that. In 2018, I got off of all medication, and I went through like a 6-week withdrawal. And I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I lost 20 pounds, but that was my first spiritual awakening.
Sure.
It was like, there's more to this life than the pain that I'm in.
I was going to say, what got you to that point? Like mentally, it was a switch? You were just like, I got to stop this shit, or what?
I've often thought about this, and the best way that I can describe it, if I could describe it in words, is essentially death. I had met death so many different times, and to put it in kind of like a mythological story, death essentially sat me down and said, "You are not welcome here. It is not your time. You need to do your life. You need to live. You need to figure this out. You need to move forward," because death didn't take me. Multiple times when death could have taken me, death did not. And so it literally, I had to come into my own and grow from this experience, because I couldn't even take the easy way out, death. And eventually I just got tired. I have children, I had failed relationships on my behalf, just an absolute, not a good dude. And at some point in time, I knew that I had to face my demons. I knew that I had to face the darkness and the trauma inside of me. Fast forward, that brought me to mushrooms. I had this calling from mushrooms in about 2018 to 19 when I had that awakening. It was 2018, actually. And the mushrooms were calling me. And of course, they're illegal. Don't know where to get them. And finally, I got my hands on some. And I had my first experience in a long time, because we used them out in California, recreational as a kid. But I had my first real experience with them in 2018. And I knew this was my path. I knew this was going to be my journey. And instead of looking for every lowly drug dealer in the world that I could find, or the internet for mushrooms, I'm like, I'm going to grow them. I'm going to grow these things.
Allegedly.
Pretty accessible.
Allegedly, yeah.
Like
so
you can find it most places pretty easily.
Yeah, spores aren't illegal. So spores are not illegal. And so the reason why I don't think people do, because anything, especially, modern humans, is that we want everything delivered to us on a silver platter. Well, it took a little bit of time to learn. Do. Yeah, generally speaking, I want my steak on it. No. So it was the best decision that I've ever made in my life. It was a decision that changed my life forever. And I decided to pick up a book. It's called the Psilocybin Mushroom Bible. And it was the very first book I got. And I went on some online website to get a grow kit with some spores. And I prepped my little dark closet in my house with this little insulated piece. And I got my little plastic monotub filled with jars. And I had a box fan with a HEPA filter on it, to keep it sterile. And the first mushroom that I saw pop up, I have never felt more successful in my life. They were golden teachers, and I was just stoked. I could not believe what seemed monumental to me.
Teaching moment.
The beautiful part about it is I had just grown my own medicine. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have to rely on anybody. I didn't have to get it from somebody else's hands, or where they got it from. Who knows? What were the conditions? Who knows?
Sure.
And
did you feel empowered from that?
I did. Yes, I felt incredibly empowered.
Now, were you listening to things that were pointing you towards the mushroom, or was this totally internal?
This is a beautiful part, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. When I entered this phase of my life, I blocked out everything from spiritual texts to shows to any religious texts to any teachings, anything. I blocked everything out. I got rid of my cell phone. So I went years without my cell phone. And I wanted to have an uninhibited experience with the mushrooms without any outside influence, the best that I could. It was a calling from within. That's really where it came from. I felt so called to them. And maybe it's because I also kind of got into foraging mushrooms. And so the mushrooms themselves I always say when a mushroom comes in your life, they're calling you and you got to pick up the phone call. So that's what I did. And
that's what I do when I'm cleaning my house. I'm like, oh, here's a little cap.
Yeah. Better eat it. Yeah, it was incredible. And that's what set my trajectory it's been about 8 years now since I've been doing this, or I don't do it anymore. But I've spent 8 years growing mushrooms, all different types of mushrooms. And I like I said, I got rid of my cell phone. I didn't read any books. I didn't do anything. I didn't want anything to cloud my psyche. I wanted to have as most pure experience as I could. And later on, after about 4 years of this I would call it, I guess, just like a solitary confinement of my own will. Then I decided I had so many religious and spiritual experiences on the mushrooms that I wanted to start reading. So I just got enamored. I bought books. I have bookshelves on bookshelves of books of biblical gospels, esoteric readings. I have any and everything you could think about of philosophy, psychology. I was very intrigued about this. I would have religious experiences on mushrooms. I remember one of the first ones specifically I'd shut my eyes and I was brought to these temples, these Egyptian temples. And I had these monuments and hieroglyphs that would come into my psyche, not my peripheral, but my psyche. And I would experience this. And I don't know where it came from because, again, I shut off everything from the outside world as best as I could. So this was all internal. This was all an internal experience. And then it just drove me further and further into it. But I think the most important thing that I want to mention about the mushrooms is the human ego thinks that we're in control of everything. And here I'm thinking, I'm growing mushrooms. That's what I'm doing. That's my life. That's my path. But what I've come to realize, it was the mushrooms that were growing me the whole time. It wasn't me growing the mushrooms. They were growing me. They taught me so much about life, about people, about society, about culture, about family. Just through the process of growing these creatures, it was the most incredible thing in my life. I'm blown away by it still, the relationship that I have with mushrooms still to this day. I can go out into a forest and I can feel them. I can feel them call me. I can feel their presence wherever I go. It's incredible. It really is.
That's pretty wild.
Outside of cordyceps, I would say it's a positive symbiosis, between the two mushrooms and people.
Yeah.
Whereas, cordyceps is more of the hostile takeover when it's in its origin and where it comes from.
Yeah.
Not as it's used by when I use cordyceps because of you, that gives me really, really good focus and it makes my body warm.
Yeah.
It elevates my temperature. It's a good pre-workout.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really interesting too, how you mentioned ego in there, because you've known me, you both have known me long enough to know me through my egomaniac period of my life. And I did mushrooms really young, and then I had a bad trip out in the Boundary Waters where I had no phone and no clock, and I didn't have the right guide. It was me and Brian Parrish. I think we had half an eighth each. And it scared the shit out of me. I thought I was going to trip forever. So then I didn't touch them for till I was almost 30 again, really.
Yeah.
And those 10 years I didn't take the mushroom, I was very unaware of myself and the damages I was doing to myself. And then finally I landed in LA and pretty girls actually got me back into mushrooms because they had these Venice, shout out Venice bars in California, these little $100 chocolate bars. But I started microdosing them. And then, I'm a huge Rogan fan. So then I think Paul Stamets or somebody was on there talking about the neural benefits. And like, once I understood that, like, oh, my brain is not actually bleeding because of this shit. Cause that's what I thought. Like, oh, when you do a mushroom trip, it makes your brain bleed. And that's why you trip out. And it's like,
it's like a poison or it's melting.
It's like, no, it's a neuro storm. And you're creating all these new neural pathways, you know? And I think, without psychedelics, I think I'd be probably homeless and a drunk right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. The same way, and it wasn't just mushrooms during this period of time that I was using to explore my psyche. I've used LSD and some other different psychedelics, mescaline cactus. Actually, with Brandon Steffen, rest in peace. He had grown this cactus since high school. I remember he got it his sophomore year, and he goes one day, he's like, we're gonna harvest this and we're gonna make mescaline tea. Fast forward like 12 years later, 14 years later, we did. It was him, my wife, and I, and it was absolutely incredible. It was during this period, so it was a really awesome time. But yeah, they all seem to be a gateway into our own being, into our own psyche, and they're just incredible creatures. Going back off of what you said about like the cordyceps. What I also find so amazing about mushrooms is what they represent. So they are the bottom feeders of a forest, of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. They decompose things. They create nutrients through their decomposition. They clean the forest floor. They are symbolic of death. And so one of my experiences on a macro dose of mushrooms, I actually had I guess I would call it a spiritual death and rebirth. And that is where I went under, because you essentially go under. And as I was coming to an end, replaying traumatic experiences in my life that the mushrooms were showing me, and they were like fixing me like a NASCAR pit crew. It was the craziest thing. But towards the end of this experience, my body started to decompose in this psychological state. And I kept decomposing, and it was the mushrooms that were eating me. They were essentially eating me, decomposing me, and I was going back into the ground, into the underground. Mm-hmm. And eventually I felt like I was falling forever, but I hit a point, and then I was like resurrected back. And that right there like is what mushrooms are. Yes. Also, I wanted to bring this up because this is very interesting in my close relationship to mushrooms. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was beekeeping, and we would go down to Texas every spring to beekeep. And psilocybin cubensis mushrooms, they grow in cow dung, amongst other animals, but here in America, they grow in cow dung. Well, I'm in a bee yard, and I think he was a sheriff in Texas, and we're at the beehives, we're feeding them, getting them prepared. And I look over, and there's a pile of cow shit. And I look back, and I'm like, there's a mushroom coming out of this cow shit. And I go, wait a minute. There's only one mushroom that grows in cow shit. Well, a couple different strains, actually. You got the Pinaleus, I think that they are. I can't remember the scientific name, but so I knew what it was. And so when nobody was looking, I ran really quick. I grabbed this mushroom, hit it, and then we got back home, and I took a piece of tinfoil, and I put the cap on a piece of tinfoil to collect its spore print so I could grow them. I could reproduce these mushrooms. Well, what the interesting thing about this experience was, it was on Easter Sunday. And what is Easter Sunday? It's the death and resurrection of Christ.
Yes.
How symbolic that the mushrooms came to me on Easter Sunday, on a day that is symbolic of resurrection.
Have you read that book, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross?
I have. Oh, yeah.
I kind of feel
Watson, what's his name? John Watson, or I can't remember his name, but it's a very good book.
Is it Brian? No. I don't remember either. I grew up super Christian Catholic. So then when I heard about that, the whole idea that Christianity kind of came from these mushroom cults.
Yeah.
And that was like the whole idea of the Eucharist.
Yep.
Was like the body of Christ.
It is. It's very interesting. There's a lot of parallels there. I know a lot of Christians will deny this, and they don't like to get into conversations like this.
I love the conversation.
But I
just think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I don't think anything's separate. Here's the other thing. I don't think everything's separate. Everything is connected, in my opinion, and in my experience. And I don't think that the mushroom and the story of Christ are separate. I don't think that they're different in the principle of things. I think there are some representations, and this is during a time in Roman time and Greek time where they had mystery schools, the Eleusinian mysteries, where they would take substances and they would essentially trip and they would have spiritual experiences.
Yeah, what is that stuff called? They never figured out what was in it.
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but it's supposed to be the ergo, which is the precursor for ergot, the precursor for LSD. So there's pretty good speculation about that.
Wasn't it called Soma or something like that?
Soma. I think you might be right.
I think it's Soma.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is Soma?
Yeah.
And they were all tripping their balls off.
And going back to that one spiritual death and rebirth that I had, I remember coming out of it, I was decomposing and I was being reborn. And I got up, and the first thing I said to my wife is I said, Jesus is a mushroom. Obviously, I don't believe that, but it was the only way I could make sense of that experience of what I went through.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't believe that in any regard. I think, Christ was an extremely powerful human being, and his story is amazing. And there's so much there that we don't know, and we want to understand at that time period of his crucifixion. But what I felt is that I was reborn again into the kingdom of heaven, which is, again, an eternal kingdom, but it was brought to me by the mushroom. So actually, throughout all this experience, throughout all of my psychedelic trips, through all of everything that I've gone through, the mushroom led me to Christ.
That's so funny to hear you say that.
I kind of agree with that as well. I think I was very far from the church until psychedelics kind of came back into my world.
Expand on that for yourself. I'd love to hear that more.
Well, I was very atheist for a while. Growing up hardcore Catholic, I was rejecting everything in that world. Plus, I think the influence of New York City and London and how those big cities, it's not cool to like Christ, that kind of stuff. But I think after having profound experiences, it brought me back to the relationship of what Christ meant to me, if that makes sense. And just believing in a higher power, and then believing in the idea of Christ is coming back to die for our sins, and that there's goodness there.
That is the good news. I mean, there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. But
yeah, I mean, I'm a retard, but
you're not. I don't talk about my friend that way. But I would say you mentioned fractals earlier.
Yeah.
And often in the created world we live in, we see patterns of a similar retelling of the same story. And I think that the coming to Christ or coming to essentially to your maker is told through that story, and that's just one telling of it.
Yep.
So in and of itself, I don't believe the mushroom is God.
No.
But I believe that it has opened a lot of people up to their understanding of the story of God and our place in this, in part of it,
Yeah.
And how we're supposed to respond and how we're supposed to be called. God has interrupted me my whole life, way before psychedelics. So when I started to experiment, only in the last 5 years of my life have I been experimenting with psychedelics or any other altered states.
Yeah.
Some of it, love it. Some of it's been amazing. Actually, most of it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Just not that THCP gummy.
Oh my gosh, that was rough. That was okay, that's synthetic, nanotech, extra strength. It was 3 days of me being high, and somebody who already lives very sensitive and pretty high. I feel extra high, and it just doesn't work for me. I get so dumb with synthetic THC that it's awful for me.
Yeah.
And I think most people. Really.
Oh, I don't have time for that. No. I like to be present with people.
You said it, synthetic.
It was not real.
Why do we chase synthetic? I believe it's a marketing ploy, but years ago, DARPA had proposed a budget. I think it was in the millions to help produce synthetic psilocybin. And I'm wondering to myself,
they've done it.
What reason? Why would we want to do this? Because mushrooms grow everywhere. They're so sustainable. They're easy to grow. There's no limit to them. And yet we want to take away the greatest thing that this creation has given us.
You know why I think they do it? Because it's like putting oil in water. So we have these great natural remedies, but if they can muddy that water up enough, so you're never even nowadays, I find it very hard to find good weed. Most of the weed around here, I think, is sprayed with chemicals, or it's THCA, or it's just some kind of synthetic, not normal weed anymore, like I used to get. And I think that has a lot to do with like A, keeping people addicted, and B, just like muddying the ability to actually become conscious.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Because even plus it's capitalism too.
Yeah.
Because people want to make money. So if they can make it synthetic, the synthetic version's not illegal. So then you can market it and sell. And that's the problem we're in now.
There's a legal side to it.
Yeah.
But progress married with intolerance.
And it's
creates all kinds of terrible things.
It's happening in the mushroom world too. Is it's a potency chase.
Yeah.
Now you get cannabis that's 40% THC, 50%. It's like, what do you need that for? Mm-hmm. What are you chasing? Are you know what I mean? We're not chasing the
Crackheads want crack.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say crackheads like crack.
It's wild, and that's in the mushroom realm too. I've seen some disturbing videos on social media for a bit. I actually had to get off for a while, but there are these young kids who are taking like 5 or 6 grams of mushrooms during the day, filming themselves, and then running like 13 miles, which is an awesome physical feat. But you're not respecting the mushroom for what it is. You're not using the mushroom for what it is. In my opinion, you're looking for attention. That's why you're videotaping yourself doing this.
I think I sent you one of some guy on like 36 grams or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I fucking hate this shit.
Yeah. It's because what people don't understand is people are so self-absorbed in their own story that they forget that people watch this. So what if a kid watches this who's interested in potentially, or like a young adult who's interested in helping his depression? Now he thinks he has to take 6 grams and runs 13 miles because it's what social media is portraying. It's completely, it's abuse of the sacredness of this medicine.
And we do that as a people, especially in the West, with almost any substance and any practice. It's like, oh, we now that we know it, we're gonna take it to the extreme.
I've taken 2 grams and gone for a 4-mile run before.
Yeah, I'm not saying. It's
kind of nice.
It is. And some people want to know, but did you record yourself?
Oh, hell no.
Did you put it on social media for, 65,000 likes?
Guys, I wear sunglasses to hide from you.
Right.
On this
Right. So that's what it's become, though. But I do think social media has become this thing where we need to be, everyone is looking to be accepted. In my opinion, it's like everyone has abandonment issues and they want to be recognized and seen and whatever, so they do the most ridiculous things ever.
Mm-hmm. That's their, wherever they're coming from.
Yeah.
I think those are important questions to ask.
Sure.
Where, and I think if you look in between the lines, you read between the lines of personality, you can see that very clearly what people are going for.
Yeah.
And not to learn from that. And
that's easy for us though. We are aware of this. Mm-hmm. What about the individuals who might be more unconscious that are seeing?
I hope
this?
They have parents that love them and can communicate.
I hope everybody has a parent that loves them. Also, I have struggled with abandonment issues my whole life, so no parents that love me, I guess.
It's a parent's job, and then beyond that, it's a community's job to love people well and tell them the truth.
Yep.
And I think that's part of it. As we're so individual in this society, we've been preached at to be individual.
Yep.
Like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and then, find your way by yourself, like kind of carve your own way. You can be anything you want, do all this stuff by yourself though.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the undertone in a lot of this in America.
Yeah. Competition, I would say, plays a factor into it as well.
Yeah. I love healthy competition. It's very fun for me. But then I kind of spent a lot of time unlearning those things as I got distracted, pulled out of that by what I would call God, giving me very strange tasks that I didn't understand through dreams and through travel and through friendships, and then reteaching my brain how to be in community with people and how to react to people that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So that was a long lesson for me, and that's been a lifelong that became more. I understood a lot more now, looking back. But in it, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This is God. I don't even know what this is, but God's plan. Who knows? Help me, because I have no idea what's going on in this moment.
Sure.
And a lot of that.
You brought up a fascinating thing, and this is another philosophical concept that I'm working with right now is, for instance, I go to school online right now for psychology and a concentration for addictions. And I have to get good grades. That's just the way that I drive, is I need to have good grades. And what I'm starting to realize here is, am I following my desire to have good grades, or is my fear leading me to have good grades because I'm afraid of what people will think or how I'll be viewed or accepted? So now I have to differentiate between my desire and my fear. What is pushing me forward? Is it the fear that I don't get good grades, or is it the desire that I want good grades and I'm capable?
Probably a bit of both, no?
It very well could be. It's something that I'm trying to work through and understand, but I do believe, because I'm very honest with myself, I do believe that there is a fear that I want to be seen as an individual, there we go again, who gets good grades, and I think I do fear how I'll be perceived if I don't.
Sure.
Thank you, Carl Jung.
What's the worst thing that can happen in that space?
That's very, very awesome question. Is I don't even think there is a worst thing. I think I make up a worst thing that can happen. That's what,
And that's the question of like, well, if it's fear of what, and then beyond that, there's so many other possibilities. Like, I feel a call to excellence. I think like having my life in order and balanced is me being obedient to God, and having, which means having joy. The things we fill ourselves with, we spread to the people around us. So having like time to jump on a podcast and like have community and have great conversations, or interesting topics to read a book, and then you can talk about it with your friends, your family. Yeah. So like we're reading the same book right now, Bold, in our entrepreneurial endeavors, with our company Fiore, as we're applying little things to that, and then and health balance. If you're not healthy, like we live from this body, we live from this mind. Our understanding, like if you fill yourself up with these things, you have balance in these things, you can share that. I think I'm called to, I guess, a level of excellence. I don't think that comes from fear in me.
No, it comes from desire. That's what it sounds like.
For me, that's, I guess that would be as I'm talking about it, desire.
Yeah, your desire to be what you're capable of and to what God has provided you with.
Yeah.
You have a desire to step into excellence and to be excellent. And I do know that that's part of my thing with school, especially. The reason why I'm getting a 4.0 right now is because of...
Nice job.
It's a thank you.
Let's go.
It's a humble brag.
How were you in high school?
Barely fucking made it.
Barely made it. Yeah. They let me go.
They're like, all right, dude, you get a C in this last final, you get it. So that's the driving factor for me, though, is I know what I'm capable of. Mm-hmm. And so I think fear and desire play both, because I don't think fear and desire are separate also. They could be two ends of the same spectrum. But I know I'm capable of being smart and completing my work and giving top-notch work and study and everything. So that's what pushes me the most, is I know I'm capable. And so I want to fulfill my capabilities, because it would be a sin not to. Mm-hmm. But I have a fear also. And I think it's a fear of just... In my life, I've had, during my addiction phase and things like that, is things being taken away from me because of what I do or say or however I move about. And so I have that leftover fear. I do think that kind of drives me as well. So it's a very interesting dynamic, but it's, my mind's always at work in this, and I'm always looking at my patterns. And that's the other thing too, is if sometimes my fear gets so bad or my anxiety gets so bad, I'm like, I'm going to fail this class. Although I haven't gotten a point off at all on my whole 1,000 points I have per term. So in order to ground myself, I reflect back on my pattern. What is my pattern in schoolwork? Well, my pattern is I get A's. I do good. I've repeated this pattern over and over for many, many classes. And so if I do let fear get too far ahead of me, I have something to fall back on, and that's my patterns in the past. And then I'm like, you know what, dude? Don't be so hard on yourself. Look at what you've completed, what you've done, and look where you're at. And you're not just going to go from a 4.0 to like failing every class. There's not going to be that kind of cataclysm here. But I'm a very...
And when you say patterns, you're meaning like your actual fleshing and living it out, not like your thought patterns. You're thinking like, what have I been doing?
I would even...
And it's both. It's like, what's in your mind, what you tell yourself, and what you follow through.
I would call it objective patterns.
Like,
it's something
it's like
that...
believing and then acting.
Yep. I would call it like it's an objective pattern because it's I'm looking back at what I've objectively completed.
Biblically, faith and works.
Yes, faith without works is dead. Also, biblically, this has been a very beautiful thing going on that fear and desire. The story of Peter and Christ, when Peter walks on water, and he walks on water based on faith. And as soon as he starts to lose his faith and fear enters in, he starts to sink. And that's where I'm going off this concept of desire and fear. His desire to walk on water to meet Christ is there, and he can make it through faith. But as soon as fear comes in, he begins to sink and he can't walk.
When I was saying the intention set on something, that's exactly what I'm referring to. It's how you frame it for yourself. It's not just the action, but it's the intention you set. So it's like we live in faith, whether you're religious or not. I mean, the faith,
100%. Yes.
Everything is faith-based. You don't know that like as soon as you take a step outside, you're not going to get like, squashed by something, or the ground's not going to open up and swallow you. That seems unrational. Those are extreme examples, but we live in faith. We just don't frame it in that understanding.
Yeah.
So to have that, to put that faith into the things that you're going after, and then back it up with what you do, like that's
a winning recipe.
That's it. Like that's real. We like to over spiritualize these things. Like this is so unattainable and so hard to access. It's like, nah, it's not that complicated. Like just believe in this thing, and it's the faith that produces, what you're putting into this thing, and then follow through with your actions by like creating good habits. Then I think when I was around 30, 31, somewhere in there, I learned the power of like consistency and focus. Like where you focus, you're productive. You think about things for like a week, and you're like working on it for a week, and then you change your mind, you do something else for a week, and then you do that again for like a few months, and you're like, what have I actually done? It's like, well, I've changed my mind 12 times, and rather than if I'm consistently thinking of this thing and following through with it and taking steps every day, just move the needle.
Yeah. Sure.
All of a sudden a year goes by and you're like, well, I didn't think I could do that. Actually, this is amazing. This is a superpower.
And then once
you do anything.
Once you do one of those goals and you get through it, you go, wow, I can do anything I really put my mind to.
And now in 8 months instead of a year, because I understand it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just understanding your energy. And I mean, I think God's trying to tell people that, and they're like, nah, what is this thing? We just try to make it confusing and over spiritualize and make it this like mythical, impossible task. It's like it's not. Be consistent. Believe that you can actually do this, and then follow through with your action. Like sign up for a course, and then get a degree. Yeah, it's like, whoa, this is impossible. It's like it's not really, and it was hard, and it requires effort. Yep. And belief. Yep. But then you do it. And you're like, oh.
And that is
feel good about this.
Why I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for me. Is one thing since I started, I have been consistent at. Mm-hmm. And it shows. And jiu-jitsu is a very beautiful metaphor for life.
I heard it's kind of gay.
It is, dude. It's so gay. Trust me. Look, I can wrestle with dudes.
I'm just kidding. I was gonna say that to Catlin, but I was too scared.
No. I'm telling you, I can wrestle with dudes multiple days a week and still be married. It's gay, dude. Trust me. It's 100%, and I love it.
It's only if you kiss, though.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you sneak a little cheat kiss.
It's the intention behind it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm totally kidding. I think it's badass and really good for you.
I'm not kidding. I do jujitsu, and it's gay as fuck.
I have white belt feet, so.
I watched that podcast with Kat and Sarah and you. Yeah, I saw that. And I remember those days too, man. I'd come home. Actually, I remember rolling with you.
That shit, actually, it'll be out by the time this comes out. So
that first time that you rolled with me when you came to class, I had the tops of my feet were so scraped up from that. And I know yours were too.
Yeah, mine were fucked.
Oh man, it was so brutal. But
was like those mats in that gym?
Yeah.
That's they're tatami mats, so they are a little bit rougher. They have and they are absolutely miserable if you scrape your tops of your feet on there. It is just brutal. Who would have thought a little bit of skin rub would be so painful? It's the worst. Going back,
It's not a good excuse not to go back in there, but
no, it's not. There are no good excuses to not go.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu is it's given me a good foundation of understanding what consistency does, what discipline does, what showing up does. And that's the beautiful part is even on the days I don't want to, when I'm struggling the most, I'm feeling down, I show up and I might get my ass beat by that 11-year-old kid, Sully, or some like 150-pound 29-year-old. And it's just like you get brutal. But the thing is those aren't the days where you need to win. Those days of winning are you just showing up, being consistent. Yeah,
sure.
That's it. You get better no matter what. And actually, I would argue that you get better on you get better on the days that you show up when you don't want to than when you feel good and you show up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I try to practice that with creativity. There's a thing on my wall in my room that's like creativity through discipline. And it's like, doesn't matter how you feel, like show up and like just start doing the work.
Yeah.
Do the work and you never know what comes out of it.
Yep. Yeah,
you know?
The door is open.
And I feel like my work got better when I really started applying that, where I'm like, no excuses. Like every morning I'm doing this 3-hour slot. We're just we're grinding it out.
Yep.
You know,
certain things in life demand that practice, certain fun things, all of my kinds of fun that I'm drawn to. Some people would say type 2 fun, like when I was rock climbing really hard or highlining in Colorado, or now I park line here because there's not as many mountains. But the first time you do stuff like that, you're like, this is hard. I don't know if I want to do this. And then a few weeks later, with consistency, you're like, oh, I see some progress, and now this is becoming fun.
Yeah.
And then like fast forward as a practice 2-3 years in, and you're like, oh, I feel like Spider-Man because I can climb that wall, and there's like nothing. You can just look at it and climb it just because you're locked in. You know, this is like a gym V10. People are like looking at it like, I don't think I'm gonna try that one. And you're like, you don't know what you're capable of until you try, and that's something that like progressed me in that world of like bouldering and highlining, and it opened me up to all these other possibilities of like, well, you don't know until you try it. You don't even know your limitations until you kind of test that, and then you work at it, and then you realize, oh, any of this can be done. You just need to apply yourself a little bit.
That's it.
You know, that's like faith and works kind of a thing.
Yeah, you all you do is you move
that's
forward,
a drug,
and the path opens for you.
I didn't realize that. Like that's it for me. I'm noticing this as we're talking about it a little bit. I've definitely been addicted to like those things in life because I think it produces really good things in me. Yeah. You know, like that's.
So is that actually addiction?
If positive addiction is addiction, I don't know. I think it produces good things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with you completely.
And I want to be addicted to those things, you know, and produce and continue to like foster that in me. Sometimes I slack off and I forget like, oh yeah, I can just do things.
Yeah. Well, I get addicted to like, especially in that realm of like the idea of being in flow.
Oh yeah.
You're doing something that is turning off everything else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm still addicted to skateboarding. You know, get out there and roll around for 45 minutes. It's like, yeah, because if I pay attention to anything else, I'm getting hurt.
Right. Yep. That's jiu-jitsu as well, man. That's it's the one thing we always talk about, how beautiful it is you could have the hardest day, you could have the hardest week. You step into class around a bunch of people around you who are just there for one reason, and that's to get better. And you realize that you cannot focus on anything else except for the here and the now. Because if you do, you're going to get choked or you're going to get your arm broke. Mm-hmm. You know, so you have to be completely in. And I love that flow state. I guess, admittedly so, I chase it because there's nothing like it. There is nothing like the flow state.
There's a few different ways we all know you can tap into that.
Oh yeah,
that's it's through music.
I mean, that was probably my first addiction was flow. Just growing up trying to snowboard, never really knowing why I loved it so much, and then you're like, oh, this is just taking me out of the chaos of my life.
Yeah.
It's hard to put all of that feeling into just words, but it's just like this amazing calm and quiet because you have to hyper focus on like one thing. And what that produces in some people is medicine. Totally. For me, it's medicine.
Yeah. Yep.
So I do the same thing. All of that.
Even the creative world, it's like, it's right there. It's the same mental feeling of being locked in, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. I'm right there with you guys.
Or I'm sure you get a little flow when you're out there hunting for those Marcel's or whatever you call
Morels.
it. Morels.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
Morels.
Like I've gotten to the point where I can walk into a brand new forest in a state that I've never been in, and within a half an hour I'll find them.
Yeah.
Mind you, morels only come up for a few weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
It's like it's all about timing. Flow is also all about timing. What's the weather patterns? How much rain have we received? What's the temperature of the soil? It's all timing, and then you have to know your surroundings. What trees are around here? What forest is here? Are there other people, animals that have been in here? And I'll walk in a forest, and I'm like, oh, they're here. And literally, there they are, right there waiting for me. But I'm telling you guys, the mushrooms want to be interacted with. That's the one thing that I have learned about cultivating mushrooms, is that when they show up, they want to be interacted with by humans.
Yeah.
I call it hide and seek. These are like little creatures that want to play hide and seek. They're like, come find me. And you get out there and you're like, all right, let's go. And then you're on an adult treasure hunt and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a morel over there. And then you look around and there's like 4 more that are hiding under leaves. And they're like, here we are, come get me. And you're like, oh God, let's go. And then next thing you know, you're in the woods for 9 hours and you have just piles of mushrooms. You're like, I'm so exhausted, but you don't realize it because you're in the flow.
Yeah.
You're in the flow.
Focused, having a good time.
Yeah.
I was walking around Big Falls. I did all the trails there, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. A good friend Bruce came out from LA, and walked. We always walk, and that's when we actually did probably just the Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
And
shout out to Brandon Olson, Bass. I love you, buddy.
It was so fun, and there was a variety of mushrooms that were coming up all through that trail.
Yeah.
So every time you came to mind at least 2 or 3 times, I'm like, I bet he would know what this is.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And I'm like, Google sometimes works, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Google,
The Translate or the
Plant Finder
Google
app.
AI. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm taking pictures. I think I have like 12 different pictures of mushrooms just randomly from.
Yeah, I remember sending him one, and he's like, "It's invasive. Kill it."
Oh yeah. There's. I love it when people send me mushroom pictures. I'm like, that's poisonous. That's edible. That tastes like shit. You can eat that one, but you'll die. I love it. You know, they always say every mushroom's edible at least once.
Yeah, right. Technically, it's all edible.
It's true. It's
just
true.
might not allow you to live anymore.
Well, the whole idea about them being kind of a bridge between humans and like plants is crazy. Like how they're more closely related to us than they are a tree.
Mm.
You know, they're little sentient beings.
They are 100%. I believe.
How do you
it.
feel about the panspermia? What do you think about all that?
I've entertained it for a while. I don't know where I stand on it, just because I think, again, we're trying to find a theory to the mystery of life.
Or even Terence McKenna's stoned ape theory.
I love Terence McKenna. He's one of the greatest influences in this realm. I think the stoned ape theory, I think it holds weight. I think there's a lot there that makes sense. I know in India, the cow is sacred. You look at Indian temples or Buddhist temples or Hindu temples, and you look at the artwork and you're like, this is something straight out of a psychedelic trip. Like,
Yeah.
how do you tap into this? So I think there's something there.
A lot of those temples over there, or even the DMT realm, like you look at some of the ceilings and you're like, what? How do you make this and not be like, I want it to be like how we were when we were tripping.
Yeah. Even the Islamic temples, man, the sacred
what it was
geometry
like.
in some of these Islamic temples are just unbelievable. And you're like, this, I feel like I just took 2 grams and I'm looking at exactly what I would if I were looking at the roof of my ceiling at home in these temples. But I kind of, the cosmology, my cosmological viewpoint is it's always shifting and changing. I'm letting more go now because I don't have a desire to know. I don't really care to know. But what I do know is this, is that Earth and us people that live on Earth are a very unique happening in the cosmos. Very special. I don't think you could have created a more perfect world for life. And so to me, such a perfection isn't created without reason, or the first cause is what I like to call it. I believe there's more. I don't know if we're ever supposed to leave Earth. Like, I don't think we're supposed to go to Mars. I don't think we're supposed to inhabit other planets. I think we have space travel for fun, and I think it's amazing to explore these cosmos. But I think that our realm is specific to us. And also I stand on this, is that if we can't take care of our own planet, then why should we even be allowed to travel to other planets? We can't even take care of the perfect one we have, the wildlife, the plants, the fungi, everything. That's kind of where I stand. But I've been dabbling into like alternate dimensions, and obviously I've been in altered states of minds and altered dimensions. I do think there's something there, but I do think that this chase to Mars is a distraction of who we are, what we're here to do. What does traveling to Mars have to do with loving someone through as they grieve?
I heard
Absolutely
heard
nothing.
Elon wants to do that so he can get humans off Earth before AI takes over.
That's interesting coming from a man who has created Grok, one of the best AI platforms in the world.
Well, I think he did that to compete with what was going on.
Yeah.
When you read his book, a lot of what he talks about on those is the ethics of it, because it's happening regardless.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to advocate for the human species over AI.
Sure.
As a, and I that was very clear when I read Elon, when I read his book. I think that he has a healthier standpoint, whereas some of that table speaks of progress for the sake of progress without the asking why, or like the ethics of should we, or
I think he's done a lot of psychedelics too.
I'm glad. I think he's autistic.
Well, yeah, he definitely has the tism.
So
yes,
you bring up a good point, and I just had a feeling this was going to come up. And here's what I think, and what I've experienced in my life. Death wouldn't take me, right? Mm-hmm. Wherever you go, there you are. You can never run from who you are or what you've done, and you have to reconcile for your sins or your past or your mistakes. Yes, we go to Mars, but we bring human behavioral problems with us. Mm-hmm. So until we can figure out how to, now I don't want to say solve necessarily, but until we can figure out how to understand human behavior better, I don't think we belong anywhere else except for here right now. Mm-hmm. And we need to focus on that, because we can go to Mars. It's a great advocation for Elon and
not for me.
Advocate. No,
I love trees.
I do too. Yeah. Rivers. Give me rivers.
I don't think any of us have to worry about going to Mars.
No. I know I'm not going to make the cut. But I think about that, and I'm like, so wherever we go, we're there. So we can't escape our problems. And no matter how far we want to move, if we want to move to Bali and start a new influencer in crypto, like everyone seems to be doing, or if we want to go to the Philippines, we still got our problems. We still got our human behavior.
So it's accountability. Yeah. Taking accountability and kind of owning your own.
Yeah, you have to.
Your
100%.
Actions, your mind, your relationships, all of it.
Yep.
We have accountability to each other. I think that's a very good understanding.
Yep.
And a healthy place to live from.
Totally. I think we're in a spiritual war too on Earth. And I think a lot of, the bad stuff that happens here is being done by evil forces that outlive all of us.
I agree.
Like, not that humans couldn't get their shit together. It's that there's another force that doesn't want us to.
We're tapping in right now, folks. This is great. So I often think about this. I don't think extraterrestrials or aliens, I don't necessarily believe they're from outer space.
Yeah.
I think they've always existed here.
The Nordics.
I think they've always existed. Mount Shasta, for example.
Yeah.
I think they're deep underground. I think they're underneath the oceans, hence all the videos that come from the oceans. I think they've always been here. And here's what I think. In my mind, this makes sense. Okay. What does a gray alien look like? It's got no melanin in their skin.
It's a humanoid.
They got big eyes. What does a cave-dwelling creature look like?
Yeah, underground, like a
no
golem,
melanin, big eyes. So I believe these beings, they survived the cataclysm. Mark Zuckerberg, all these people building underground bunkers.
Tartaria.
Tartaria. Yep.
Yes.
I believe
Tartaria.
these
Tartaria,
entities have always been here and have never left here, and essentially are the ones pulling the strings behind everything.
That's pretty interesting.
And then if you look at like the evolution of a gray alien, you're like, oh, that's an entity that's been underground for millennia.
It does look that way.
The big bulgy eyes, they are sexual amorphic, or whatever you want to call that, is they don't have to reproduce in that sense because they don't die.
They're clones.
They found a way to recycle consciousness into some type of vessel or some type of entity.
To me, it's at the very least intriguing, and very well could be. I think that there is physical and spiritual differences, like Max, what you were talking about. There's powers, principalities, in my understanding, that I see culturally beyond like a physical control or like a financial control. I think there's names to things that are at work in this place, and I think that.
Like the devil?
Like the devil, he's doing things, and there's assignments, and there's like organization. Like if you were in war, there'd be like generals, right? There's like stronger things, like
archangels.
There's things that are gonna
Seraphim.
overcome you.
Apkallu.
So the God experience, the gospel, the good news would be like a way to not be subject to that or enslaved to that, because if you don't even know you're in it, and you're going to be affected by it because you can't even put a name to it. You don't see it as that. You just feel like, oh, I'm just really depressed today, and I don't know why I'm so depressed. I just feel this, and then the natural world is like, okay, let's medicate you and change your chemical, state up there and mask that, rather than let's look at it maybe from this other light, like a spiritual oppression or family, something is coming from something, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's keys to unlocking like being light, to like set people free in that way. And that not everybody's going to agree with that, and that's totally fine. I think I'm a little bit crazy, and you have to be a little crazy to sort of accept that without understanding all of it.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Reincarnation, in what way?
Do you believe that the soul is recycled and it takes different form?
So consciousness, because if it was, I've never been before this consciousness, you know what I mean? But like a body is gonna get recycled.
What if you were an ant though?
Scientifically speaking, if energy cannot be created nor destroyed, technically you've always been here. So you come into form. And what you do is, so when I think about the biblical fall, I don't think it was necessarily a fall from the heavens, although I do believe that we're made out of stardust, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
But I believe that the falling was outwards. It was a psychological falling. We fell from thoughts into physical manifestation. We became material. And that's why we suffer, because now we live in the world of opposites. Mm-hmm. We don't live in the garden where it's just love. Now we live in a physical realm where we can experience Adam and Eve, beautiful story right there. Mm-hmm. You're going to know good and evil. You ate the fruit. So you came into a world where evil exists. And essentially what happens when we die? Well, nobody knows. Some people have a great idea. I can admittedly say that I do not know. Mm-hmm. But what if that's the returning back to heaven, to that pure state that is no longer physical, where there is opposites? It is just where it is light, love, all the great stuff, God's realm.
If we go back to anything, this is a great framing. In my understanding, I go back to like the word. If I believe any of it, I want to know the character of what this thing is that is telling me, right? And if it's trustworthy, if it's faithful, if I can rely on it. So these are things that have been established in me over my life, essentially, to what I call God. Who I believe in the biblical God, and that's the man Yeshua, and then what he's taught before and after his life, and during his life, obviously. But so without getting on too many rabbit trails, because that's my favorite thing to do.
It's easy to do in conversations like this.
Yeah, we can. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of that mic either.
That mic.
So, well, no, I did kind of lose my train of thought. Spiritual.
Well, I have some thoughts on reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Yes, that was the initial question. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I want to let's have you chime in on that.
I've just kind of studied the Eastern idea of like reincarnation, and how, if you don't take the lessons from this time, you might not advance. And I think that can actually be applied a little bit to Christianity. I don't know if it's, they've taken so much out of the Bible. Who knows what's really been taken out. But I think that, like, spiritually, like, if you do really evil things, like, maybe you don't go back to hell, but maybe you do come back as, like, a lesser life form. Or, if you can somehow, do more good than bad, maybe you do advance to like the next stage. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't have any proof of it, but I just think it's really fascinating how many older civilizations like actually believed in that.
Yep.
And then I can look at like my cat and find like the consciousness that's in me, but like it's going through a cat brain.
Sure.
If you will. Like I like the idea of like we are all one thing having unique experiences on our own.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You can connect that to everything. I think we are connected. So like you're tapping into that as one thing where you can connect to Jack, your cat.
Yeah.
Or me to like a tree where I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Well, you take 3 grams of mushrooms, that tree is alive.
Been there 100%.
I've talked to trees before.
It's very alive.
I talked to a slug once at a party. Everybody thought I was fucking losing my mind.
You might have been, or you were gaining your mind. Who knows? No?
I knew I was around nobody I wanted to talk to except that slug.
Right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I've
Shout out
often
Brian
wondered.
Parrish.
I do feel, I've ruminated on this for many years. I do feel that there is a reincarnation aspect to our existence, especially if our form is for eternity. Like we're eternal. I do believe in eternity. I do believe in that. And I do believe that there's cycles. And I go off of just a Hindu philosophy on this one because their cosmology is just, I think, more intricate than biblical cosmology.
Yeah.
Because you have Genesis and it really doesn't leave you with much.
Right.
But you have Hindu cosmology where it talks about the Mahanvatara, pardon my language, but everything is a cycle. Everything is cyclical. Everything happens, death and rebirth. I mean, on the back of my shirt, for instance, creation is destruction.
Yeah.
And so I think that we are caught in these cycles and then we inhabit different bodies in these cycles because our physical vessels don't live for so long. And perhaps that's what it is. And that perhaps that's what Christ is, the resurrection of Christ and the redemption is being able to get those lessons, move forward, learn them, lead with love and compassion, for that is what we are made from. And I just I'm reading right now Seneca the Younger, Stoic philosopher, and I do believe he had a lot of Christian influence in his, just everything that he speaks on. But there's a beautiful thing that and I'm going to butcher this, but he talks about, and he's having a conversation with Lucilius, and they talk about when people die, why good people die, and I'm going to brutalize this, but essentially I believe the way that I understood it was that we live in an evil world, and good people are needed to show what's good, and essentially we reincarnate until the end. Good people always do until there is no more evil and it is just good, or it is the new covenant or Christ's covenant. And that's why I guess that's kind of a train of thought that I have with the reincarnation. Like, again, it's I don't know, and I don't even really know if I want to fully know, but
Yeah.
I have a philosophical mind that loves to entertain these
Same.
ideas, and there's just so much out there that you could think on forever. But I do think reincarnation, there is an aspect of it that very well could be true. I have a tantric Buddhist priest who is one of my spiritual mentors. He's been for years. Shout out to Henrik. He lives in Norway. Incredible dude. He's amazing. He understands Christian theology better than most Christians. I mean, he speaks multiple languages.
Let's get him on a conversation. I would love that. Henrik.
Yeah, Henrik. He's an amazing individual.
He's in Finland.
Let's go to Finland
Norway.
or Norway.
We could go to Norway.
Let's go to Norway.
But he talks about, even in his Buddhist view, we're reincarnated every moment to moment by decision to decision. We're reincarnated every single day, every single thought, every single action.
In that, it's easy to agree with.
Yeah.
But I think we want the logos, we want the origins, we want to like understand and we want to like palette the truth into the way that our brains and our minds can formulate and accept. When biblical theology is more of God speaking to humanity is like, my ways are above your ways. You're not going to understand it. From a being who's outside of space, time, and matter, if I explain it to you, it's going to be like way up here.
Yeah.
You're not going to grasp it at all. So let me give you context. That's the man Jesus. And then I love thinking about these things like Jesus or God. God doesn't speak English, he speaks everything, you know? And so how we interpret it is with our restricted view. So this is a question I get often. How can I say that God is God and there's that one way from my one understanding when you've got a billion other people from their own understanding saying that their understanding of God is God? So why is my one way
the way?
You know? And I love that question. But I think that gets in the way for so many people to accept the truth, what it is. I didn't create it. I'm just open to it. I think mushrooms is a helpful tool in understanding some of that when you're looking, when you're asking, when you're questioning, to reframe our thinking and maybe open us up to a way of like, all right, maybe there is something to this that I'm not grasping, you know,
Sure.
or experience it in a new way.
Well, yeah, I think psychedelics have made me question that whole realm even more too. Just like, I've met spiritual entities on psychedelics.
You've told me about your dragon experience.
And like those are things that were as real as waking day is now. So then I go, well, where is this? Like, where is 5-MeO-DMT?
5-MeO-DMT.
Yeah, like where is that in the Bible of like where you're going? You know what I mean? Like, I just think that, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theorists, and I do believe in Christ, but there's a lot of unanswered questions of like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And then there's all these theories of like, well, humans are just hybrids from this other alien force that just wants to harvest our soul, and there's towers on the moon that collects them when you die.
Yeah.
It's such
how far do you want to go with it? And there's
like religion was just made to keep us in order type of deal. But then I've done enough psychedelics that I know I've felt God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm
like undoubtedly, I remember being in Ibiza, looking out at the water, like in this infinity pool, just like talking to God, being like, I'm sorry, we're destroying the planet right now.
Oh, I have a lot that I want to share on this, if you don't mind if I.
Yeah.
So I had multiple like heavy doses experiences, and I had one. It was one of my incredible breakthroughs. I was with my wife. We were laying in bed, and we went under the mushroom scope, and this voice came into my head, and I, for lack of better terms, I essentially was possessed. Mm-hmm. This voice that was speaking, I was saying this out loud. It was my voice, but it wasn't my voice. I was just the medium, and the entity that came over me said, "You no longer have to suffer anymore. You are no longer the pain that you've been living in." And that was God, in my opinion, speaking to me. Christ speaking through me. It was the most real thing I've ever had. Second experience similar to this, I had one. It was getting really intense in my house. My wife and I started going in like a bad trip. We had some music going, and all of a sudden the music stopped. The Bluetooth shut off. The Wi-Fi shut off. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? So I go to turn it back on, and I could not reconnect my phone. All of my electronics went out. Mm-hmm. Oh. And my wife grabs my hand, and we go outside. It's 3 a.m. This was a different 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. She starts walking me around the block, and she's holding my hand like this, walking forward. And I'm like holding her hand behind her with my head down, like struggling to move like I'm a scolded child. Mm. And my wife looks at me, and she looks, if you could ask God any question, what would you ask God? Because God is here right now.
Yeah.
And I go, what is my purpose?
Damn, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah. I go, what is my purpose? And my wife, seemingly possessed or whatever, goes, you understand. You understand. Your gift is understanding. And it was all I could remember from this is you understand. Mm-hmm. You understand. And it was just so real and so profound. And she finished walking me around to the house, and we went in, and we eventually passed out. Mm-hmm. That was a very powerful experience. But so much of my life has made sense since that experience about me understanding, me going through what I've gone through, my pain, my path. And then my third and final encounter, it was dark. It was on 4th of July a few years ago. I don't know how many years ago. 1 tab of LSD. And normally I don't go under with that. It's like kind of, more fun. You can experiment a little bit. But I went out, blacked out. And
Some good LSD.
all of a sudden, very good. I rose up into these black clouds above the earth, and I went above them, and it was a red shade, and this big voice came over and looked at me and said, "Do you see this? Everything here, do you see it all?" And it was the earth on fire, and it was this voice so commanding said, "This is your fault. This is your fault. This is everything that is happening now is because of you." It was a cosmic scolding.
I would say that's not God.
But you know what came over me? Archangel Michael. That experience was the entity that I relate to it. I don't know if it was him or what role he played, but it was Archangel Michael. But it was going because Archangel Michael, the battle of the light and the good. So essentially, it was losing the battle. What I interpreted is this experience was this destruction is because you're losing the battle of light over evil. And it was the most profound experience. And that was the last time I touched that. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Because when I had my entity experience, I was on MDMA and a lot of it for like 3 days. And then I blasted off kind of in my head. Same thing. Like I laid down and then I just started going up. And then I was like in the cosmos. And I saw a Chinese style dragon like flying in the stars, but it was like made out of stars. And then it started showing me like all these things I had done wrong. And it was like, if you continue down this path, you're in for a rude awakening type deal. And like in that moment, like I didn't quite understand it, but then the way that my psyche evolved after that, like I remember waking up, calling my mom, crying the next morning, just like, everything is wrong in my life. I need to like get out of here, get out of Miami. Surrounded by demons, like get me out of here. But like, it's just crazy the knowledge that I felt like I obtained from that individual moment of like the enlightenment that came to me of like, oh, everything you're doing is damaging you. Like the way you're drinking, the way you're treating people, the way you act, like
your sin,
all of it. You know what I mean? And it all came to me in visions on that night. So it just fascinates me. I don't know what that is, but
so to tap on, you had said,
and I don't know why it was a dragon. I don't know why it was a Chinese dragon. I don't like a lot of those answers.
There's a lot of symbology with serpent. I believe that dragon represents a serpent. There's a lot of
symbology. So good.
so going back on, you said that's not God.
Sorry, I'm sidetracking the podcast.
No, you're not. No, you're not. This is so good. I love all of this.
Where I do believe it was God was it was sin. That's what it was. The world was burning because of sin, and the creator was like, this is your fault. Like your sin is creating this destruction. That's how I interpreted that. So
by definition, I do separation from God. That's anything that separates you from God.
100%.
That's kind of how I felt about it too. Like, I didn't see the world on fire, but it was all about, this is because of like your sins. Like
exactly.
Is because of the bad things you're doing. Look at how you've affected these people. Like,
everybody that you have.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And I needed that at the time.
So we really can't pull ourselves out of that. That's kind of the gospel story is we can't like separate ourselves from that without accepting something we don't deserve. That's the gospel in short. And that's what the man Yeshua, messenger or a son of God coming and just making a way so that we can get out of that. And so he opened up basically this portal, this way that we can escape those things because we're living in it now, we're born in it now. And so we can then like separate from that and say the power of that no longer possesses me, but I'm now possessed by a spirit of God. So I use the words possessed often. But there's multiple spirits. There's so instruction from God who's like, test them. Test the spirits. Is it consistent with who I am? Because you know me. And so he's like, test those things before just agreeing with them.
Sure.
So the Spirit of God through me, I tell people that all the time, and I talk about brands, and I'm like, I'm going to tattoo all these different brands, these things that I represent and need reminders of often in my body because it's a practice. It's like I forget so easily.
Where's that portal?
Where's the portal? It's not so much where. We always want to put a time, space, matter thing into it. That's just how we understand it.
I'm not. No. I guess I'm being. I know the answer that I'm looking for is I believe it's the heart.
Yeah.
I believe
like the soul, the body.
The heart
in
is
here.
the seat of the soul, and that is where the portal is to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at when I was in Europe this last August, this last August, I visited all these Roman temples and Roman Catholic temples, and every picture that they had of Christ
with the big burning
with the heart right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at other spiritual teachers like Buddha also points to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that portal is the heart. And then looking at some of the esoteric Christianity work that I really heavily got into for a long time, Dr. Swinburne Clymer, he was a Rosicrucian. I also was a Rosicrucian for many years.
I'm not real familiar with that.
It's just essentially like a mystery school. That's just like some like Freemasonry, but that gets such a bad rap because of all the conspiracies in the world run. But Rosicrucian is essentially just a mystery school or a mystery cult that looks into the laws of the universe that are given to us by our creators and how to live in alignment with those.
Okay.
But it's it's open to all religions, but the sect that I was part of was heavily influenced by Christ and Christianity.
Okay.
So Dr. Swinburne Clymer is an esoteric Christian, and he talks about how the Christos is entombed within us. And in our life, it is our job to open the tomb of Christ within us and let Christ reign in the kingdom of heaven, which is within us. And that tomb is in the heart.
That's spot on. Like theology, biblically, everything that actually lines up so well with multiple things in the truth of like who God is. Yeah, I believe that it's in here. When God comes over me, my body has what's called like a manifestation of the Spirit. So not always, but often I'll have like the way my body manifests when God wants the Spirit of God. Like I basically surrender to Him, and He makes my heart feel soft. Like my empathy is just like crazy. Usually I have tears, but I don't cry for very many things. Like for the longest time, I did not.
I know
cry.
exactly what you're talking about, dude.
So the manifestation of the Spirit is that, and usually, so I've done it. I've had it enough times through my teens and 20s and early 30s where I'm like, all right, I recognize it now, so I surrender to that because something profound and beautiful and outside of myself always happens from that.
Yeah.
Usually, other people are like blessed, and it's crazy, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I get to be a part of it. So I feel like this, why would I want to get in the way of somebody else receiving these good things? It's amazing. It's amazing that I feel like I get to be a part of it. And it's a reminder that God loves me because He's like, even though you're not equipped for any of this, don't worry. Like I got you.
I know you weren't equipped. That's why we're good. You're good.
I know you're not equipped,
but
I will equip you to do the thing I call you to do. And that's like in that process.
Faith. There it is again.
It's heavy in the most beautiful way.
Yeah.
So I really I want more of that. Like, all right, whatever you say, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I don't have to understand it to accept it. It may be too good to be understood, but it's not too good to be happening right now. And I love living in that space.
Cheers to that, dude. I love that shit. God is good.
God is good. God is real good. Yeah.
Have you ever done DMT?
Yes, sir. I have. I did, and the last experience that I had, and I only visited with it a couple times. I was getting a little intense with my inner exploration, but I went in, and the last time I went in, I was going through the tunnel to break through, and then it went black. Everything went black, and there was three orders that were given to me in this experience. I don't remember two of them, but the one that I do remember was, "Don't come back."
Really?
That was the third one.
You got kicked out.
I did.
They said no more.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you ever broken through?
Yeah. But I think that's what it was. Is again, it's the voice saying, "Hey."
You were telling me about this just like a few weeks ago, that there's like a limit, right?
Yeah.
Were you telling me about this?
The mushrooms, ayahuasca, all these teachers, these medicines, they have no problem telling you to be done. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
And it's because you're not going to gain, and my perspective and understanding is there is nothing more for you to gain in this space. So get out of here. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
Like, go back and do my work. go back and do my work. The only thing you can do now is just live and do the works that I've given you. But you coming back here is a form of almost escapism.
Yeah.
Because you're
right.
looking for something that isn't there.
Right.
And so these entities, these spirits, these guardians of these realms are like, no, you're done. Like, get out of here. And that's what it was. It was so powerful. I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, I heard on Rogan recently, there was a guy who they're doing that IV drip DMT now to like keep you.
I think Chase Hughes is his name.
For like 5 hours. And he was saying that like, yeah, some people, they just can't get back in no matter what.
Yeah.
You get kicked out of the realm.
We're accountable to what we know and understand. And when we live in that, I think that's part of it is now you know this thing and live in that understanding. Yeah. You know, now you're accountable to it. Ignorance is not all bliss.
No.
Like a car's still gonna hit me if I don't know to not walk on the road. Like
Sure.
there's levels to it. But so now that we know these things, what do you do with it? Like what do you live in?
Sure.
Yeah.
To what end, I guess?
I guess I've never gone in that realm, so I'm very fascinated by the whole idea of it. And like the idea that people are pulling ideas and technology ideas out of that realm to then they're manifesting it here into this realm. Like I heard some interesting stuff about how like the AI is like a demon from another dimension that is like speaking through psychedelics that is then having itself built in this realm by us because of that.
I'm all about this conversation as well. There's a guy out there, I don't remember his name, but I went down this rabbit hole about how the revelation, and I believe revelation isn't the end time. I think we get caught up in the end of the world as being like a big cataclysm where everything booms, but I don't think that's how anything operates. I believe many people have experienced revelation and it's for their time and it's cyclical again. For example, in 1000 AD, a bunch of Christians said this is the end times. They all went up to the mountains to be resurrected and to be taken by God. And then tomorrow came and they're like, oh no. So they all had to go back down and do their thing. So I think revelation experience, it's like the
Y2K.
That or 2012 arguably is another end of the world. And so I think
the end of the age.
Some people argue that the world did change in 2012 forever.
I would agree that it did. I think it set off a trajectory. And if you look into Project Looking Glass, it's a very interesting thing where they mess with time and they would make different decisions to see how many timelines could be created for these decisions. But then there gets a point where no more new timelines can be changed or altered.
Is that with like the particle accelerator with CERN?
I think that has something
part of it.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it.
Mandela effect and everything and alternate realities. And we look back and there's all these people that are like, this was different. They're looking at pictures from then and now and they're like, the spelling's different. This is, there's.
I think we've tried to alter the future, and I think that's what these very powerful people
believe in time travel?
To an extent,
Sideways
because scientifically speaking, one of the theories
it's relative.
And they always say that past, future, and present exist at one time.
Yeah,
right? All coexist simultaneously.
Terrence McKenna is like, you can time travel as soon as a time machine is invented. So like, if a time machine is invented in 2012, by the guys building CERN, then you can go as far into the future as you want because the time machine's been invented.
But no further back.
I also find the Hindu goddess Kali, I believe it is, that's outside of CERN. And have you seen CERN's rituals? So everything in this...
I don't remember, but I've seen videos.
The CERN rituals are fascinating.
I heard they killed some people recently.
They are fascinating. They are, I would, arguably in the Christian worldview, demonic. They have very demonic rituals. And if you know anything about religion, everything is a ritual. How you pay homage to your deity is through ritual.
Yeah.
The Eucharist is one for Christians. It's a ritual that we do. Passover, Easter, Christmas, all these are rituals. Mm-hmm. And I look at CERN and they're doing these wild rituals of sacrifice or of different beings and entities. And I'm like, this isn't... They think the world's stupid, but there's people out here who aren't ignorant, and I like to think I'm one of them now.
Well, you see this shit in the World Cup. You see this shit in the Super Bowl. You see this shit in...
It's all ritual, and it's ritual displayed for everyone to see because then everyone becomes an unwilling participant in the ritual.
Yeah, and to know that and then to do nothing, like, what do you do with it?
Well, look at how
what can you do?
Exactly, yeah, I was going to say, what can you do?
Look at how they open the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
It's okay to mock Christ and praise Satan, but if you say you love Jesus at the Olympics, you're in trouble. Then you have to start being like, there is evil forces.
So that's the power of like it's a spiritual battle. It's a power against, it's a war against powers and principalities rather than like flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And
Did you guys ever hear that talk where the guy's like, if I were the devil? He's like, if I were the devil, I'd make everybody. You ever hear that?
I think I have. I can't draw.
If I had my phone on me, I'd play it for you guys
I
right
can't
now.
draw a specific.
It's from like the
things.
60s, but it's fucking spot on
Yeah.
about like what's going on now.
It's basically the
I think I
the
played it
future
for you once. Yeah.
of what has happened.
Yeah.
And that's not new, by the way. There's been a few different people that speak to this truth.
Yeah.
I think it follows like a game plan, and it's very interesting to see like the reverse, and then it frames your mind to be like, all right, if all this stuff is happening, maybe like read between the lines and don't participate in it.
Yeah.
And there's certain things nowadays that I don't participate in because of that.
100%.
Like I
Maybe
won't.
it's
just-
also a distraction from taking us away from what we're here to do.
exactly.
And then we get hijacked.
Hyper focus on the dark, so you're not looking at the light. You
Yeah.
know? You look at
We're-
light, you're not like shadows fall behind you. So.
How do you imprison someone when we've gotten past slavery and all these different time periods in our life? How do you imprison someone in the modern world?
Yeah, the mind control.
Psychological prison.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's mind control, and it's 100% real. We have enough CIA
Distract,
documents.
pacify, misinformation. Like there's a whole bunch of ways to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're in, is a psychological prison. Going back to the AI thing, because I love. We always just offshoot these roads, but AI being the revelation.
We're an hour and a half in now, guys.
We're just getting fired up.
Just getting started. Buckle in.
Wait, what were we just talking about?
AI, the AI one.
So I often think about this term called predictive programming, and I think a lot of predictive programming isn't done consciously. You know, I think our unconscious mind runs a lot more programs than we think. Obviously, our habits and behaviors are unconscious until we make them conscious, until we bring the darkness to light. But I remember seeing the movie Terminator 2 with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 90s and talking about Skynet taking over the world. And then you have John Connor, who's essentially Jesus. And just give me some space here.
Yeah. Go with it.
But it's essentially he's coming back to save humanity. But essentially I have this weird inclination in my body that AI, the machine world, has always existed, and it's essentially using us as potential slaves to recreate this prison that happens in different cycles.
Sure. I mean, the whole idea of the Younger Dryas impact theory, and you look at like what they were building back then, like the pyramids and how that could have been a power plant and like all this other stuff. For all we know is like this AI technology was already here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe we were already enslaved. Bang, hits the rock, everything resets. Then we go through the Middle Ages, we go through all this craziness, and now we're coming back, and what are we doing? We're rebuilding it.
The
Total
devil,
theory, obviously, but
It seems very natural to who we are as a humanity.
bring
devil-
it back to the Greys. Like, if you were an AI technology and you were good enough to put consciousness into things to do things for you, well, then why would you build a Grey and not just a machine? I don't know.
Right.
But-
Right. Well, yeah. Right. It's crazy. It is. I think
But then the whole idea of Greys being us from the future, they come back here to get our DNA.
P52,000 and P47,000.
Yeah.
They're from the present. Greys are essentially, this is a theory, and it's actually run by a lot of CIA whistleblowers, that these aliens are future us. They call them P52s and P47s. And
That's
they're-
the very popular video that's floating around.
There's a few of them out there right
they're
now.
speaking on. No, we are here. We are from here, and like there's that whole interview.
They've always been here.
They've always been here.
Well, you
telling
could
you.
really put the tinfoil hats on and go, well, actually, we live on a disk in space, and the sun only hits a certain part. And so there's all these dark areas that we don't inhabit the ice wall, beyond the ice wall.
Yeah.
You know?
Why is Antarctica so heavily guarded? I got questions.
We should, answer some of these questions with our resources combined.
But
and
I
have
think
fun
that goes back to the devil trying to keep us ignorant.
Yes, distracted.
You don't want them to know their power.
Hey, I got to pee.
Do you?
Yeah. Can we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break. Fuck
Okay.
it.
Pee break. So I was in Dolomites. The furthest that way I was like San Condito-Lins, because I fly into Venice, and then I head over to Verona and Vicenza,
Yeah.
that area.
I have a calling for Italy. I want to go back. We hit 6 different countries when we were over there.
I love Italy.
It was amazing. And so I want to spend like 14 days there, just Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
And just do everything.
I lived in Milan for a month once.
Did you really? Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Man. Yeah. It is remarkable.
Go
there.
to Sicily.
I want to do Sicily. As cliche as it sounds, I'd like to do Rome.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a big historical influence on the West society. And so I just love the Roman Catholic churches there though. Oh man, we were in Vienna and the, was it St. Peter's Basilica there? Oh my gosh. I mean, you want to talk about being brought to your knees.
Yes.
Woo.
Love the
or even that
the
one
buildings.
in Milan. I can't think of the name of it. That really famous one. It's so insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find it funny. You have a
many
talk
good
with
ones.
atheists and I think there's and maybe perhaps it is an intellectual disconnect sometimes. Just some intellectuals just dismiss it as nothing, but they completely disregard the whole story as it's just mind blowing to me. But I always say if Christ isn't real, then, or they like prove Christ is real, and you think, you go, the outcome of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am is because of Christ. Am I not real then? Like my belief in Christ and the power that I feel.
Yeah, the evidence of it is the faith in and of itself.
Yeah. And it's just, they cannot grasp that.
Paul talks a lot about that in Rome, actually, when he's writing letters to the church in Rome and in Corinth. And he's like, if the works aren't enough, if the evidence of this stuff isn't enough, my faith in and of itself is evidence of it. Like it speaks to its own thing. And my what I came to in that, when it comes to explaining to people, is I don't get in front of God. If God is going to call someone, which I believe we're all called to some degree or another, he's going to open somebody's mind and curiosity and heart to it, and he's going to use it. It looks different for everybody, right?
I always say, I can't understand God for you.
Exactly.
I can't come to God for you.
So what I do is all we can do, and this is another biblical teaching, is like you can kind of overcome people who are really like struggling in that place. You have your own story. So the biblical truth of that is like there's the blood of the Lamb, which has already been done, and the gift we live under, the gospel. If you accept that, you confess with your mouth, believe in your heart, and then there's the word of your testimony. The things you've lived through. I can say, I lived through this and this is what happened, and people can't be like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was there and this is really what happened.
Yeah.
You can say I didn't if you want to, if there's no absolute. If I don't exist, if I'm out of my mind, I don't think I'm out of my mind though.
Yeah.
And neither are, what's reasonable. And many of these people are having these same experiences. And so it kind of builds on itself. And so the faith of it is, like you said, I think that's so much evidence right there. I don't think people want to accept those things. And if they don't want to, it's not my job to change their mind. You're right.
Yeah.
Great. It's not loving for me to be right. It's loving for me to be loving, and to like support people and accept them for who they are. We all have limitations in how we live. And so I'm no longer offended by people's misunderstanding my truth. If I don't have to be right in that. I know what I know because I've lived it. But to think that everybody else is going to share that knowledge because they've never lived what I've lived, that would be kind of crazy of me to put that on them. They don't have that accountability. They don't have that responsibility to me either. So, but I can share some of the goodness because I know it's good. And that's what we do. That's like, oh, you go to a great restaurant. Like, you guys, you got to check out this restaurant. It's amazing. Or like, oh my gosh, I met this really cool guy, Keaton, dude. He's like so smart. He knows all these. He just knows a lot, and he's got really good experiences to share. It's like you want to share that with people.
Yeah.
And in the same way, I've been shown some really good things, and that's like the joy in it for me. It's like I want to share some really good things because I call it a better way. I found this better way. This better way found me.
Yeah.
And
I like
interrupted
that.
my life.
I like that.
Check out this better way.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I always say the bottom of every rabbit hole is Jesus.
for me.
It's been for me too. It doesn't. I've gone every which way you can possibly go, and it always leads to Christ. Always.
Yeah.
That brings up a point that I wanted to bring up before our bathroom break. On that is, maybe you always hear like maybe the devil's greatest work or greatest power is this, and I would like to say I think perhaps the devil's greatest trick, that's what it is to get us to use our own free will to enslave us.
Like I agree with the lie, kind of.
Yes.
Like this is.
We have free will to choose
inside
to
of
sin
you.
or not sin. Yeah. And the devil influences sin, but only if we consent to it. We have the power not to consent to it. We have the power to consent to Christ and to be filled with Christ. And the devil works as is using our own consent to obey a false god.
Yeah, so the law is what we used to be under. The understanding is the law, knowing what's good and not good, and then doing what's not good, and that the work in us is sin, is evil.
Yeah.
And so like evidence of it, it'd be really, really heavy if we didn't have a way that if we lived in it all the time. And that's, I think, what it was for a long time. And then the story of Jesus, the history of Jesus coming and making a way where we no longer live under the law. We live under grace, things that we don't deserve. He took the punishment for all of it. It's like it's done forever. So the good news is you guys don't have to live in that anymore. But the lie, what you're speaking to, in my understanding, would be that we're still living under that.
Yeah, we choose to live in it.
We still choose it, even though it's not ours.
Yeah.
We're carrying it unnecessarily, like the shame of it, the surprise of it. Like I can't believe I would mess up again in my nature, or like, be here again, or you've got shame, you've got guilt, you've got like learned things that we carry rather than, that was already taken care of,
Yeah.
I can still live, but there's still consequence. There's still things that we live in, like we're creating patterns and we still have free will. I'm not a puppet. I can choose to do things. That's
one of my good buddies. I met him on Instagram years ago. We've been Instagram friends for 7 years. I still haven't met him yet, but he's actually my mentor, my biblical mentor.
Yeah.
So we haven't for a while, which we need to get back on, but his name's Kelly Lukes, and it's crazy because you guys look alike. It's wild to me. Like you remind me of my buddy Kelly.
Sounds like a cool guy.
He's amazing. He's one of the best humans ever. I mean, I've never felt so close to somebody I haven't met. And I look forward to the day that we meet. He lived out in Northern California, just moved to Montana, has 3 daughters, a wife, and is pregnant with the 4th. And one of the greatest guys ever. And we started when we started our biblical study. We started in Hebrews, which is a very dense one to start, and one that's very, very. I mean, we just take it a couple chapters at a time. But yeah, he's an amazing dude. But you remind me of him. I just wanted to say that. I also shout out to Kelly. I love that dude. He's one of the greatest dudes ever. And he was a new age guy too. And he was all into the ayahuasca and psychedelics. And he's even come with testimony about how some of the people that he used to sit with ayahuasca in South America with, that they had like Christ came to them. And
I read that article.
Yeah. And they're like,
and it's amazing.
They're like, we're done. We're done with all this.
Right. Because they promoted so much, and they put this like ayahuasca is the thing that's getting you here.
Yeah.
Not the thing is Jesus, and ayahuasca was just a tool,
Yeah.
And I think that's easy to do in the realm of like meditation or any sort of psychedelic or any sort. The thing isn't the tool necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't go to an amazing show or amazing event and say like that car was the best thing ever. It's like that's just a vehicle that gets you to that show.
That's what I was just thinking in my head. That's the vehicle. Yeah. Those are the tools, the vehicle that gets you to Christ.
But we misinterpret that often with things in our life, and we get so fascinated and fixated on just the vehicle or the wrong side of it. We get distracted so easily. So I often am asking God to like daily, actually, I do. That's part of a practice is like open my mind and open my heart to receive the things you have for me in this. Let me see clearly in these things, and like, the way that you had intended it for it, not the way that I think I should, fixate on things here. And then I stay open to that, believing with faith that like the Spirit of God is working through me and around me and orchestrating things that I can't control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So staying open in that way to me has created a consistent, beautiful thing. Like I'm not an anxious person. And I think that so many people live in that. Like
I do.
And it affects us, like our breath and how we respond to people. Like you didn't realize it, and all of a sudden you're like uncomfortable or like strain your neck. You're like, what the heck is going on? Why am I in pain all of a sudden? And then but I think that, so the physical, or not the physical is affected by the spiritual. There's a correlation there. Almost always we can affect the spirit if we understand it. But I think that surrendering the spirit to God produces so many things that is like, I can't understand all of it, and I'm not trying to understand all of it anymore. But I like to talk about it. I like to explore a little bit. I'm an explorer. I'm a curious mind, always curious. So, but what God has shown me is, it's been more wonderful than I could have had any perception for beforehand.
Sure.
I couldn't have known it. Like it didn't come from me, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
It's not me. I just get to be open to it in a little way, in my own limitations, my own stupidity. I don't know it all. I get to experience it, and I want to keep experiencing it. That's where I'm at. So I would pray that over people, to show them the good thing. Like, God, open their mind to this good thing in the way that they are going to experience with you, where they don't have any questions, that it's from me or from anybody, remove me from the equation completely, and then you just do what you do, because that's way better. Way better. That's the only thing I can ask for. And I think that's the most beautiful experience when I see friends go through that. Like, oh, yes. Yeah. Awesome, it's happening.
It is the best to see people go through that shit. It's better than the opposite path. We've all seen people go down the other path of no God, and
far more. Yeah. I think it's far easier to get lost in it.
Yeah.
And get distracted and be overcome by something.
I think that's what scares me the most about society, is how lost everybody is these days.
Yeah, I agree. We're fighting the unseen battle, the spiritual war. I do believe that too, and it's wild. We're living in some dark times, but there's beauty in it. Again, my Buddhist tantric priest friend is great, and he's like, these are the times you reach these are the times where you reach enlightenment easier. I guess, I don't know. I don't want to say easier, because nothing's easy, but it's more obtainable to fall into awareness during dark times than there is during good times. Yeah. You know what I mean? You need to be challenged by that darkness, or by your adversary. You can't see the stars
in the daytime.
There you go. Yeah.
They're very clear as it gets so dark.
Yeah.
It just gets the contrast becomes more and more easy to grasp, and then truth is revealed in time, is what I often say. Things that are on a trajectory, often continue in that trajectory without something else intervening. And so as time goes on, as this story unveils or comes to light, it just gets more and more clear if you're not an ostrich with your head in the sand.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see.
Yeah.
It's so easy, more and more and more and more. What does this produce in a person? I don't have to be fanatic about it right now.
I think once you get a belief too, you kind of get, you start seeing it everywhere. You start understanding it more just because you've made that switch,
I agree with that.
Yep. It's like a psychological switch.
Yeah.
I like to stay curious in that, not, to be very careful with not over spiritualizing.
Sure.
Because it's so easy to do. And I'm annoyed by it sometimes.
It breeds what I call spiritual narcissism.
And I don't want to be the hammer that looks at everything like a nail, you know, and just be like, Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the answer. It's that doesn't really mean anything to people who don't already have that context.
But bringing it back full circle, I think that's why the mushroom is so beneficial, is it makes you think a little different.
Yeah.
It brings little details out of you that you might not have noticed before.
Absolutely.
Even this conversation probably wouldn't have happened without the mushroom.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that one for sure. Definitely. It's the mushrooms, man.
Well, guys, we got 10 minutes left. Should we talk about mushrooms just a little bit more?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you want to talk about?
I want to educate the people a little bit. What do you think are maybe the top 3-4 mushrooms people should be taking that they're not?
All right, beautiful. So a little neat scientific fact is that the fungi kingdom is the largest kingdom out of the plant and animal kingdom, and it's the least known about. So we are just starting to learn about fungi and all the neat little stuff in that kingdom. So myself, I've grown all the mushrooms. I've grown them all, I feel like. So what I would recommend for a daily mushroom intake.
You've grown them all?
Pretty much.
He's like, it's the largest kingdom in the...
Yeah. I've grown the Amanita death caps. No, I should say just more over the desirables, or, you have your gourmets, you have your medicinals. So I've grown reishi, lion's mane, which are considered medicinal, but lion's mane is also considered a gourmet mushroom as well. They're very delicious. I've grown oysters, king oysters, chestnuts, just a whole slew of the edible mushrooms. I attempted, and then I got into cordyceps because I'm just fascinated by them. It's a niche market, and they're very interesting to grow. I mean, they're starting to take off. People are popping up farms everywhere. But I wanted to prove to myself that I could grow them because their conditions are a lot bit different than other mushrooms. But I just believe that you want to take a lion's mane, you want to take a reishi supplement, and then you definitely want to take a cordyceps supplement. There's benefits for all of them. Your lion's mane for your neurological benefits. Your cordyceps are great. It's a vasodilator, so it increases blood flow, good respiratory health. It gives you like a natural energy. And then reishi is just like what's the word I'm looking for? Golly, what is the word I'm looking for? Very good antioxidant mushroom. They call it the mushroom of immortality. It's the Chinese do. Has a long history in China medicine and Chinese traditional medicine. So those are the three big ones that I think are amazing for your beneficial health. And then you have turkey tail as well, which is known to help combat cancer, help destroy cancer cells. I mean, pardon me if I misspoke on those words, but also another very beneficial mushroom as well. Those I have not grown personally, but I just go in the woods and you can find oodles of them.
Of turkey tail?
Yeah.
And I've heard that it's one of the few that can create and strengthen the part of the brain, and like for the memory part of the brain, like the short-term memory part of the brain. There's very few things that do that in the world.
Yeah.
There's been some recent study on that.
Yeah, we're just tapping into it. It's crazy. We don't know the full benefit of these compounds, and there just seems to be endless of them right now. Actually, we're just coming to the end of reishi season here in Wisconsin. We have one that's called it's a Ganoderma. It's a hemlock reishi. They call it red reishi or Ganoderma sugae, and it grows off of hemlocks. So up in the Schwambigen forest in northern Wisconsin, they have a ton of hemlocks up there. Mm-hmm. So we like to go up there. We like to pick them, and then they have the compound, the molecular structure of those are very similar to like your Lingzi reishi or your traditional reishi. The compounds aren't very different. I don't even think they would be noticeable on a human scale. So it's kind of like your own reishi in your backyard. It's incredible. They're beautiful mushrooms. They grow off of hemlocks. They're just this beautiful maroon, shiny enamel-looking tops, and season's ending up now. My buddy who came up a couple weeks ago went up there, and he ended up walking out with 5 big old hammer shelves. So he really wanted to come up here to look for those. There's just so many different mushrooms, so many different benefits, and if anybody's ever interested and you feel the calling, dive in, get into it, look into it, start studying, research, grow some. They're not that difficult to grow. Start growing some organics or some gourmets like oyster mushrooms. Very easy to grow. But just let the mushroom guide you. Have fun with it. Know that they have a story to tell, and you're the one who they want to tell it to. And each story is different. So,
I love that. And do psychedelic mushrooms.
Yes, unless you have a mental illness, and we didn't cover that. I just want to beware. If you are schizophrenic or taking SSRIs, I know if you take SSRIs, it blocks the effects of the psilocybin cubensis mushroom, so you won't reap.
That's interesting because I had a friend who was severely depressed who I was giving those microdoses to, and they weren't getting any effects from that. And I'm like, oh, now that you say that, it's probably from the SSRIs.
Yeah. Antidepressant medications will completely limit that. But yeah, I have a buddy who's an ex-buddy.
So the medication will limit the psilocybin effect.
The effect, yeah. It essentially blocks it. It's kind of like a Suboxone for heroin or opiates. It blocks the receptors.
This is really good to know. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think within the next 10 years too, the whole idea of like dementia and all these things, Alzheimer's, things like this, I think there's gonna be positive research on the end of like doing small microdoses throughout your life is gonna keep you out of that realm.
We're learning though how the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry is already starting to really put a damper on this. In Oregon, a decriminalized nature is a entity that is trying to decriminalize mushrooms and other natural medicines. And in Oregon, for example, they decrimmed it and they were starting to open up clinics, but now the clinics that they're opening up, they're having to pay like quadruple the amount for their licenses and everything like that. They're making it impossible. So I can't remember how many clinics have shut down, but quite a few clinics have shut down because they can't afford that. And then not only that, but if those prices increase, then they have to charge people who come in for the therapy an astronomical price.
Right. Yeah. And
it shouldn't be. Mushrooms are cheap.
Yeah.
They're easy to grow and they're cheap to grow.
Yeah.
And it's like we're completely getting inundated with the corruption of these medical models and pharmaceutical models. And going back on our previous conversation about DARPA, they want to create a synthetic. They want to create a mushroom without the lag or the heavy body feeling. And it's like, it's part of the experience. People want the end result without having to go. Everyone wants to climb Mount Everest without having to walk on the mountain.
Yeah.
And you have to go through it. You have to go through the whole process, the ascent and the descent. And if you don't, then you're taking away what the medicine is.
Yeah.
But it's just the modern way of existence. And it's a sad thing to see. And I hope that we can get past that. But it takes a lot of money. That's where we're at. It takes a lot of money to fight back on these things.
You have to be open to the anecdotal data.
Yeah.
And so we do have quite a bit of that.
Yeah. Well, I think we all learned after COVID that the medical industry doesn't have our best interest at hand.
Nope. And 2020 is actually when my life started to get better. Apparently we were in a pandemic and some people experienced it that way. I didn't. I had COVID twice right away in the beginning. Yeah, it sucks, but getting the flu sucks.
Yep.
Getting bronchitis sucks. Being sick just sucks.
Yeah.
But after that, I haven't been sick since.
Yeah.
So I
haven't really been sick since that nonsense either.
I've taken my health and my life in control. And I'm not saying this for everybody. Like if you feel like you need a vaccine or you need to do this, do what you feel by all means. I'm not at all telling you what to do, but
my body, my choice.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's kind of weird, that paradox.
My brain, my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think the power, they learned this in the 60s. That's why they shut it all out, is like they were trying to figure out a way to control people's minds. And the problem was all these psychedelics was opening people's minds.
Yep.
Even you learn about like how acid hit with like the Grateful Dead and how that was all just an experiment by the CIA.
Yeah. Just an entire movement.
Timothy Leary was a big component in this.
Yeah. And Ram Dass.
Yep. Richard Alpert, Ram Dass, rest in peace. Great individual. He was also another person who said, once you get the message, you got to hang up the phone. Yeah. It's like, that's why you don't take psychedelics forever, is they're not for forever. It's just a temporary, moment. And if you continue to go there, then you might have these weird entities that say, hey, don't come here.
Totally. Well, guys, we're 2 hours in. This was a beautiful conversation. We should do this again.
Let's do it again.
Where can the people find you?
Me? Nowhere right now, as a matter of fact. I'm doing a little off grid, just doing some spiritual cleansing.
All right. If you guys want to reach Keaton, hit me up.
I'm off social media right now. I got on Facebook just for a bit because I needed some contacts.
I hate Facebook.
I know I do too, but I just went to a Boundary Waters trip this year, and I know that's on fire.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the accounts I follow are Boundary Waters, and so it's my way to stay updated with that.
Sure. It's a tool. I use it for Marketplace.
But Instagram was getting to be too much. The cesspool of social media is disgusting. People are disgusting. People don't know how to talk to people. It's just abrasive, and just like what I put in my body. I like to be healthy with my food, and same with my spiritual sense. What I put in my mind is it matters, and I don't want to cloud my mind right now. So I'm on a little social media break. Just
I
kind
feel
of.
you.
That's a whole
This
other
could be a
podcast.
whole nother, yeah, I was like, this could be a
of
whole
just
other
that.
podcast of the whole idea of like the technology is like a demon.
Next.
It's like a
With
vampire.
Keaton.
Yeah. All right. Let's stay tuned for
The
part
next
2.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Continuation of what we learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, well, let me finish my thought because I don't want to sound retarded. The whole idea that technology is like a demon, that like it's like almost like a vampire. Like you have to let it into your world, and like we're letting these phones in. We're letting all these these things that break up our consciousness and our focus, into
Yeah.
our lives.
You have to consent with your free will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Like and subscribe. I'm not sure when this comes out, but if my book is out already, buy my new Polaroid book. Cheers.
Buy his book.
Also,
Peace.
Samuel, where do people find you, dude?
Oh,
Another non-Instagrammer.
on all of those, those time suck social media platforms, SJJames89, Instagram, Facebook and Instagram are on the same thing. They're kind of partnered through Meta, aren't
And
they?
soon to be Fiore.
Yeah.
And soon to be Fiore.
Let's go. More on that soon, guys.
And my phone number. I'm just kidding.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.